Greetings, friends and family. I am Stephanie R. Bridges, and I am so excited to be presenting children's books that are written, published, and illustrated by Black creators specifically with you in mind. Be sure to check out bridgesbookclub.com to get these titles and more. Special thanks goes out to the Tawi Family Village and Dr. Jill Jackson for hosting the Ohio Kwanzaa 2020 celebration. Charting a Legacy. This is day 7 of the celebration, and our Kwanzaa principle is Imani, which is faith. It is so important that we believe in our people, parents, teachers, and leaders, our righteous struggle, and imminent victory. Today, I will be reading a book written by Angela Ramos Fields. Will You Be My Friend? And this book is by Angela Ramos Fields. It's illustrated by Freddie Crochan. So this book was published by KP Publishing, and that's also a Black publishing house as well. Will you be my friend? Hello, my name is Sam. I'm 6 years old, and I live with my mom, dad, and big brother. Most days, I'm happy with my family. We eat and play together. I feel safe at home. My big brother is like a superhero to me. He's kind, protective, and fun. His superpowers are amazing. I'm very lucky to have him as my brother. I wish more people were like him. He makes people feel loved and special. I go to school and I do amazing things that make me feel like a big boy. I love reading about rockets and drawing pictures of spaceships. One day, I want to be an astronaut. School is fun, but some days are harder than others. I have autism. Do you know what autism is? Autism means I think differently. Sometimes sounds, colors, lights, and different places make me feel uncomfortable. When I am uncomfortable or scared, I make loud noises or flap my arms. It is called stimming. Also, it's hard for me to talk, so sometimes I do not talk at all. I cannot help how I act. Learning to manage my frustration is hard, but I put my best effort every day. I can't control my behavior like other children. I might have a meltdown, which looks like a tantrum. My meltdowns are results from my frustration. The behaviors I have are because of my autism. I will have autism for the rest of my life. Other boys and girls think I am strange and they make fun of me. This hurts my feelings and I feel bad. At the park or on the playground, I get bullied. Sometimes boys and girls may push me out of the way or ignore me so I can't play. Some days they call me names that are mean and should not be used. Some boys and girls think I am too different and will not be my friend. I know that having autism makes me different, but I think being different makes me wonderful. We are all different. We all are wonderful in our own special way. For instance, there is a girl in my class with red hair and a boy in my class with green eyes. All of us are different. All of us are wonderful. It is not nice to bully people. If I could make a wish, it would be for all the children to stop making fun of me. I wish they could just see how well I can read and draw. I wish they knew how much I love space, rockets, and spaceships. I wish they could see that I'm a nice person and want to be a part of the group. In fact, I wish no one would get pushed or ignored. No one would get bullied. Having autism is not easy. It's like running a race with weights on. It's like eating dinner without a fork or spoon. Having autism is like playing in the sandbox with no sand. Sometimes it makes life confusing. Other times, autism is like looking at a beautiful color like blue for the first time. It's like tasting something sweet magnified by 100. Senses can either make things confusing or amazing. I am a happy boy, even with my autism. I can still find things to make me happy, like having my brother as my best friend, reading a new book about spaceships, going to school and seeing my favorite teachers. All of those things are fun. Having friends that are different is fun too. My last wish is to have more friends. Oh, how I wish you would be my friend. The end.
Habarigani, what's the news? Welcome to Kwanzaa for Kids with Elder Greg Arnold from Columbus, Ohio. I'm excited today to give you a story about a cultural holiday celebration called Kwanzaa. As you can see from the table here and from the music that you're hearing, Kwanzaa is an exciting holiday for African American people that was started back in 1966 and continues today, celebrated for 7 days between December the 26th and January the 1st. Let me tell you about Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa was started back in 1966 by Dr. Malana Karenga. This is a picture of him. He's an associate professor at Cal State University in California. And after the uprisings in 1965 in Watts in California, he decided that black people needed to find ways to come together to be more close, connected, and to restore our roots. And so what he did is did research on some of the harvest festivals in Africa, which are called different things. And what the farmers did in Africa was worked hard, planted their crops. When harvest time came, they gathered their fruits and vegetables like the fruits on this table right now, and they were able to celebrate the harvest for the hard work they did. Now, many of us aren't farmers today, but what we can do is celebrate the harvest of our minds and our spirits. And here's how we do it. Kwanzaa, the heart of Kwanzaa, is 7 principles. And these 7 principles are called the Nguzo Saba. Nguzo Saba means 7 principles. And the principles are represented by these candles here, and I'm going to show you what each of the principles mean. On the first day of Kwanzaa is called Umoja. Umoja stands for unity, and that means to work for togetherness in my family, our community in which we live, our nation, with others. So that just means cooperating with each other and doing the things that we need to do. The second day of Kwanzaa is called Kujichagulia. That's a long word, and that means self-determination. And the Kujichagulia said to believe in myself, to be strong in mind and body, and to do the things that will not destroy us, but to strengthen us in life. And you can see these people are working together to do that. The third principle is called Ujima, and this principle means collective work and responsibility. It says to work together with my brothers and sisters side by side, to do my share of the work and to help my brothers and sisters do their part. And if you have brothers and sisters at home, you always want to help them, and you always know that 2 heads or 2 sets of hands are better than one. On the 4th day of Kwanzaa, Ujamaa, to prepare myself in school to create our own businesses and jobs, to build a better community for my family and for others. That means that we build our own businesses and support them the only way that we can to make sure that our communities are always strong. The 5th day of Kwanzaa, the principle is Nia, which means purpose. Purpose means to always remember our ancestors and the struggles they went through to make a better world for us, to work with my brothers and sisters to make a better life for our people. And you see people like Winnie Mandela, a South African activist, Dr. Martin Luther King, a great leader of civil rights, Malcolm X, a famous black leader, Dr. John Henry Clark, a noted teacher of African history, and Mary McLeod Bethune was a noted educator and founder of Bethune-Cookman College. On the 6th day of Kwanzaa, the principle is Kuumba. Kuumba says is creativity. It says to use my God-given talents in a way to strengthen, enlighten, and uplift my people with all who I come in contact with. And you can see on here people being creative by playing videography, playing the drums, building a pyramid, and also dancing. And I'm sure many of you have some of these creative skills. And last but not least, on the final day of Kwanzaa, the 7th day, is called Imani, which is faith. And it says to believe in God, my creator, my parents, and all my family, teachers, leaders, and the goodness and victory of our struggle. It's always good to believe in those who have your best interests at heart, and they want to make sure you always do your best. Now, these 7 principles, if you follow them all during the year, you should be able to have symbolically the kind of harvest that's represented by this fruit on the table. So if you make these 7 principles the core of your everyday work, you will have a harvest each year on Kwanzaa to be able to celebrate that, just like the farmers did back in Africa when they celebrated their crops. Now, the number 7 is key for Kwanzaa because there's 7 days to celebrate and there's 7 symbols and 7 principles. I'm going to show you some of the symbols right now. If you take a look at this straw mat here, and that's the foundation, is called Mkeka. And Mkeka is our foundation, and it really means our foundation and our history in Africa. When you build a house, you always have to have a strong foundation. On the Mkeka is the Kinara. This is the candle holder right here. And you can see it's made out of wood, and that is that Kinara is symbolic of our parents, people, continental Africans. And so these are our African people, our ancestors who come from the continent. The candles here are called the Mashuba Saba. And these are the 7 principles, which again is the heart of Kwanzaa. We also have ears of corn. And you see this sign here is called Muhindi. The corn represents children. And you should have at least 2 ears of corn representing male to female. Now, if you're in a family that has many children, you have an ear of corn for every child. The colors during Kwanzaa are red, black, and green. And that is represented by the flag, and the name that flag in Swahili is called the Bendera ya Taifa. And that's the flag that was created by Honorable Marcus Garvey. The red stands for the blood of the people, the black stands for the people, and the green stands for the land. Also, during Kwanzaa, we have the Unity Cup. And this Unity Cup is called the Kikombe Cha Umoja. 2 purposes for this Unity Cup. One is to pour libation honoring our ancestors. The ancestors that we talked about here, we would call their names, pour water in the plant, and say Ashe, which means it is done. And that's honoring our ancestors, to allow those ancestors' spirit to be with us. You also use this as a unity cup to make sure that anybody celebrating with you, you pour water or some non-alcoholic beverage in it, and everybody drinks it to show unity. And last but not least, as far as the symbols, Zawadi. And here's the gifts. And Zawadi are gifts that are given to children primarily during Kwanzaa because they made a promise and kept it. Just like you said, if you wanted to get an A in math and you got that A, you would probably get a book or a videotape or something made by hand, not necessarily video games and that kind of stuff. And so we had the principles, the symbols. There's also, this is a gift that my children got me years ago. There's a Kwanzaa stamp that was developed, and this actually is a music box that plays a tune. If you can listen to that, that is the Black National Anthem, Lift Every Voice and Sing. And so children are a real important part of Kwanzaa because the children are a hope for the future, and we want to make sure that we transmit this information to you so you can learn it, and then when we're not able to, you can take over and teach other people. So during Kwanzaa, we had the drums here. There's drumming, singing, there's dancing, there's food, there's projects that you can do, the fruit that you make and you bring forth because of what you did during the year. And if you make Kwanzaa an important part of your life on a daily basis, you can make sure that you'll have the kind of harvest, take care of your families, make sure our communities are great, and make Kwanzaa the kind of celebration that you would want to have. So I would encourage all of you to talk to your parents, your guardians, have them to help you to research what Kwanzaa is, and start celebrating it on your own if you're not doing it already. Just like the song was saying in the beginning, Happy Kwanzaa, we want to make sure that you have a happy Kwanzaa and enjoy the rest of your Kwanzaa season. Habar Gani, what's the news? And that's it for Kwanzaa story time for today. Thank you. How long was that?
My name is Mwatabu Okanta. I'm known as the Muntu Kuntu energy poet. Muntu. It means the life force, the God force in human beings. Kuntu. It means the life force, the God force in art, in music, in poetry, in dance, in our culture. I want to thank my sister, Sandra Essie Bryant, for asking me to join you for Kwanzaa. It is that time of year again. And for me, Kwanzaa is a very, very special time. It is the season of our first fruits. It is the season where we come together to celebrate the fruits of our labor. And it's a special time this year because this year has been a long year. It's been a difficult year. We've lost loved ones. Loved ones have fallen ill. But somehow we have survived. And here we are, coming together once again. The village, the family, our elders, our children, our contemporaries, coming together to share our stories, but coming together to reconnect with our ancestral energy, to ask them to come to guide and continue to protect us. Because we're descended from those people who refused to die, who survived the dungeons and the Middle Passage and the plantations, who became new peoples of African descent in the fiery furnace of that thing called slavery. but we are still here. And if our ancestors could survive what they survived, we can survive this, and this too will pass. It is Kwanzaa time. So in the spirit of the Nguzo Saba, I would like to share my story with you. I would like you to think about your story, because we all have stories to tell. And each one of our individual stories is a chapter in this book of Africans in the New World. The poem is called Poem for the Living. It's an epic poem. And Vince and I are going to riff. The poem is in honor of Sheikh Anta Diop. And we begin with a lament. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. A long way from home. To whom do I say? It is because of our living dead that I speak. Hear their words, the words of our departed, the faces forgotten or never seen, the lives intuitively felt, the dreaming of our dead inhabiting our bodies, making us ache. Africa, what is Africa to me? The questions remain the same. County Cullen wanted to know why God would make a poet black, and bid him sing. Langston Hughes lamented Afro-American fragments. They knew the feeling. They bore the cross black poets have to bear. Singers and poets move amongst every people. Even in this America, too blind, arrogant to remember, to care. The poet's journey is personal when people have forgotten how to listen to the real power inside our own song. It began as inner feeling, as feeling before, beyond words. It was there before I learned the meaning of my own blackness. Little boy times and innocent questions that altered expressions on adult faces. I wanted to know if God was white like the pictures of his son, Jesus. Questions left unanswered. Questions that would root my words deep in the soul soil of an age-old poet tree. By that summer of '63, only Little League mattered. I did not know about deferred dreams. It was not so special white boys played on my team. I was too young and far removed to know about movements then. It was not for me to know we were black dreams born into flesh. I knew only that my mother and grandmothers fussed and fumed over little Smitty. I remembered nothing of stories, sleepless nights. My mother sheer-willed her man-child into the light of each new day. I remember my South Carolina Geechee grandfather who refused to speak the white man's tongue, who watched them Yankees and the real Sugar Ray, who chewed cigars and drank homemade wine from the Jersey urban earth. My grandfather dressed in his Bethsaida Baptist Church blue suit, hands folded, looking coffin still, looking more asleep than dead. I can never forget the look on my father's face when he watched television the day assassins gunned Malcolm down. I remember the power of that silence, that Wilbur Smith had been one on the black, blue-collar, middle-class block, who talked to the brothers whose soul the Mohammed speaks. How could I know Malcolm's vision then? It would be years before I would know the man, magic man in Malcolm's voice. It was not for me to know the fire in my father's eyes would soon flame inside my own. It began as something deeply felt, a feeling, nothing the proverbial finger could be placed upon. It surfaced the first time that night, a bullet blotted King from our sight. I knew something changed in me then. I remember being unable to mouth the pledge of allegiance that morning after. The white hollow ring resounding from empty words made me begin to see in a different light. In a different light. Kwanzaa is that time when we come together, talk to each other. We are a diverse community. We come together in our own new tribes, light skin, dark skin, urban, suburban, rural, old, young, good hair, bad hair. We come together, the good, the bad, and the ugly. We come together to be one. Gye-Nyame in his Healers tells us the present is where we get lost if we forget our past and have no vision for the future. So Kwanzaa is that time when we come together to remember our past. What happens to a people after all the years, after all the private corners of our nights, after the acceptance of pain in our lives, after the coming of age of our agelessness? What happens when out of darkness, a deeper darkness, a darkness deeper than death, and you can see it, can see, touch, can feel it, can become one with its warm light? What happens? Born of grandmothers left to scrub the venom the white people put into calling us nigger black on cold water wash basin mornings. Grandmothers scrubbing, grandmothers and amens, grandmothers and hallelujahs, grandmothers and thank you Jesus, grandmothers and the will to wish we little ones would never grow to know nigger black and old. Our grandmothers who nurtured us and healed us. We are a people in need of healing. What happens? A surreal strangeness being in places still forbidden. A new plainness. Too many black people still cannot look the white people in the eyes. We still live for massa until we die, long for a freer freedom, looking for signs. What happens? Kwame Nkrumah taught us that we are not Africans because we are born in Africa. We are Africans because Africa is born in us. And Kwanzaa is that time when we come together to celebrate the Africa in us. I was in college when I met my first African from African. He said, "I am from Africa." I remember being confused. If he was from Africa, what did that make me? Stunned into screaming silence, I did not sleep that night. I spent that night looking into mirrors, looking for Africa in my own face. I looked into questions. What was just American or Negro or colored or nigger or black - American? I did not know how to see Africa reflected in my own face. I did not know how to see Africa in America's dark race. I remember feeling made me go to Africa. I heard Africa calling my name. I was not dreaming. I was in Africa. Africa calling my name sounds pushing me to sink my roots in native soil, to seek nourishment, to heal my wounded soul. Africa. It arrested me, freed me to the core. I knew faces. They were the same faces, only more. Faces moved me to sea-search the Africa water deep inside a kidnapped people's lore. I saw Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Harlem, Huff, Liberty City, South Philly, Atlanta, Chocolate City, D.C. made plain. The scenes, sounds, smells, rhythm, rhyme, black colors, motion, time was the same. I searched for black self, searched for the Africa I encountered at Chief Shawande's feet. I searched for the Africa in me. Kwanzaa is that time to search for the Africa in we. I want to thank you for your time and your attention. I want to give thanks to my brother Vince Babayao Robinson. And I want to leave you with words from The Healers by Kwai Armah. Often, our confusion comes merely from impatience. The disease has run unchecked through centuries. Yet sometimes we dream of ending it in our little lifetimes. And despair seizes us if we do not see the end in sight. A healer needs to see beyond the present and tomorrow. He needs to see years and decades ahead, because healers work for results so firm they may not be wholly visible till centuries have flowed into millennia. Those willing to do this necessary work, they are the healers of our people. And so Kwanzaa is that time when our storytellers, our singers, our poets, our players of instruments, our healers come together. Kwanzaa is our time. Thank you and peace. Tongue got twisted up in there a couple times, but I got through it.
The only person that knows is you, bro.
Right.
You're writing your own script.
I'm telling you. Wow. Each time we do this, man, it just gets better.
I love it, man. I'm loving it. Let me play my bass.
Watch the next video. Watch the next video. Watch the next video. No, I'm just joking, family. Family, thank you for joining us. Be sure to catch us on the next video, family. Peace. Watch the next video. Watch.
Story time. Story time. Wait a minute, y'all look sad. Good. Everybody, let me see a smile. I want your smile to be brighter than that light. Let your smile be the light to light up the world. Where's the light? Thank you. Today I'd like to share a story with you called The Chicken. No, the eagle that thought it was a chicken. Now did you get it? One more time. The eagle that thought it was a chicken. And this is how the story goes. There was a farmer, and every morning he would wake up just to watch the sunrise. He would do this every morning. One morning he woke and he looked at the sun rising and he saw an eagle flying by. The next morning he woke up and he saw an eagle flying by. And that farmer made up his mind. The farmer decided it was going to follow the eagle, find its nest, take an eaglet, and he did. So the next morning, the sun rose. The farmer looked. He saw the eagle. He followed the eagle, and he went to the nest, and sure enough, there was an eaglet. He waited until the eagle left. He grabbed the eaglet, and he took it to his farm, put it in the chicken pen, and said, "Now you are a chicken. You will be a chicken for the rest of your life. You will look like these chickens. You'll act like these chickens. You are a chicken. And that bird began to act just like the chickens. And the other chickens, they were kind. They looked and said, "Ooh, you sure are ugly. You're so big. Why your feathers so big? Why are you so awkward looking? You don't look like us. Where do you come from? Who's your mama? Who's your daddy?" And that poor bird began to feel ashamed, afraid, humiliated, sad. And that bird continued to be like that. And the chickens began to make the bird feel that it was useless, because that bird did not know the history of what it was. Then one day, a naturalist was walking by, and he looked in the chicken pen, and he went up to the farmer and he said, "Why do you have an eagle in the chicken pen?" The farmer looked at him and said, "That's not an eagle. That's a chicken. I said it was a chicken, so now it is a chicken." But the naturalist said, "No, that is an eagle. That is the king of the sky. That bird should spread its wings and fly." But the farmer said, "That bird will never fly. It is a chicken." The naturalist said, "Can I try to teach it to fly?" Farmer said, "That's okay with me, but it will never fly." So the naturalist took the eagle and perched it on top of the fence. He looked at the eagle and he said, "You are an eagle. Your roots are royal. You are majestic. You are the king of the sky. Spread your wings and fly." The bird looked at the farmer. The bird looked at the naturalist. The bird looked at the chickens and hopped right down and started pecking. But the naturalist did not give up. He said, "Let me try one more time." So he took the eagle and he went to the top of the barn. He set it out right on the edge. And he said, "You are beautiful. Spread your wings and fly. You are the king of the sky. Your family stood at shoulders of royalty." The eagle looked at the man, he looked at the farmer, he looked at the chickens, and hopped right back down and began to peck, because that's all it knew. But that naturalist would not give up. He said, "I am going to teach you to spread your wings and fly." So he asked the farmer if he could try it one more time. And the farmer agreed. So the next morning, before the sun could rise, the naturalist took the bird and they began to travel. And they traveled to the highest mountain peak. And he went out to the edge of the mountain. He set that eagle on the edge. And he began to teach that eagle who he was. You were not born to peck around with chickens. You were not born to settle for less. You were born to be the best. You were born to be the king of the sky. So spread your wings and begin to fly. Something happened. That eagle began to flapped again. Begin to believe you were on the shoulders of those great kings and queens, and you were born to follow the sun, chase the sun, and wherever the sun goes, that is the path into which you are to follow. And all of a sudden, because someone taught that bird who he was, he began to believe. That bird began to flap his wings. And he began to flap his wings. And the man said, fly, 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 because you are the king of the sky. And the next thing you know, that bird began to fly, And that bird is still following the sun. So if each of us can teach our future, and sometimes we have to teach ourselves to spread our wings and fly, because we are the kings and queens of the sky. Let us teach.
Watch the next video. Watch the next video. Watch the next video. No, I'm just joking, family. Family, thank you for joining us. Be sure to catch us on the next video, family. Peace. Watch the next video. Watch.
PRI, Public Radio International.
Welcome. Greetings. Aletheia. Welcome to A Season's Griot. I am your host, Madafo Lloyd Wilson. On behalf of all of us here at WHQR Public Media in Wilmington, North Carolina, I greet you. And in the tradition of those who came before us, our ancestors, thank you very much. Asante Sana for tuning in to A Season's Griot. I've known rivers, ancient dusky rivers. My soul has grown deep like the rivers. I've known rivers, ancient dusky rivers. My soul has grown deep like the rivers. Kwanzaa is a time of celebration, thanksgiving, and reflection. It is a time of ingathering, a time when family, friends, neighbors, and loved ones come together to give thanks for all of the blessings bestowed throughout the year. Blessings of children, health, laughter, and love. During the celebration of Kwanzaa, homage is paid to the ancestors and their indomitable spirits. We honor the elders whose wisdom continues to light the paths before us. And as a community, we tell the stories to our children that give them a keener sense of self and direction, that contain the history as well as the principles and values of the people. When we celebrate Kwanzaa, we acknowledge the good within, handed down from the past and passed on to the coming generations. It is in such ways the children are taught their responsibility to themselves, their families, and community. Kwanzaa was created in 1965 by Dr. Maulana Ron Karenga. He chose 7 principles as the core value system for celebrating this African American holiday. Because of the growing popularity of Kwanzaa, these 7 principles, or Nguzo Saba, for millions of Africans throughout the diaspora, are embraced as a way of life. Kwanzaa is celebrated for 7 days, beginning December 26th and ending January 1st, keeping in mind that this is a cultural celebration and void of political persuasions, religious affiliation, and hero worship. Kwanzaa includes everyone. During each of the 7 days of celebration, the ingathering brings the community together to acknowledge the past, give thanks for the present, and plan for the future. It is a joyous time. Each of the 7 days of Kwanzaa reflects the principle of that day.
Umoja, unity. African people are inextricably connected. Though some of us were dropped off in Boston, while others were sold to the plantation owners in Virginia, North and South Carolina, and still others of us became maroons in the hills of Jamaica and Haiti. The spirit of Mother Africa sings sweetly to the souls of her children wherever African people reside. Umoja is the first of 7 and most compelling of the Nguzo Saba, for without the concept of unity, all the other principles are unlikely. Kujichagulia, self-determination. There are those of us who, because of years of indoctrination, miseducation, and misinformation, are conditioned to think and believe all Africans, past and present, were slaves. In fact, when we speak of our African selves, our African ancestry, oftentimes we refer to them in terms of an era when African people were kidnapped, stuffed into the bottom of ships, chained in shackles, and with the aid of the Middle Passage, distributed throughout the world and placed in a condition of slavery. Know thyself, El-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz. If you have a knowledge of self and understand the glorious history of which you are part of, then you also know that even though we were placed in a condition of slavery, we are still and foremost an African people, even as much as we refer to ourselves as slave. Ujima, collective work and responsibility. The survival of African people through a dark and tumultuous time is successful because our ancestors understood Harambe, the need to pull together as family, in a community, and as a nation. Therefore, as a collective, we become united in our determination to be responsible within an African-centered worldview. Ujamaa, cooperative economics. Working together for the benefit of the group and pooling resources makes sense. It's common sense. Nia, purpose. Education fuels the imagination, gives hope, and allows the child possibilities. Every generation is the custodian of a timeless legacy, which it is bound to embrace, nurture, and pass on to the coming generations. Kuumba, creativity. Always improving, moving forward, making what we have better, doing everything we can in every way we can to give our children all they need to understand their responsibility to themselves, their families, communities, and nation. Imani, faith. We are the conscience of all the generations who came before us, and the spirit of the ones to come. Therefore, trust in ourselves, our elders, and leaders is essential as we strive to move our community forward while maintaining an African frame of reference.
If you have visited Cambridge, Massachusetts, and had the privilege of visiting the local square, then you have experienced a crowd of people being awed by a barefooted, blue-clad, butterfly-adorned storyteller known as Brother Blue. Here he is. Enjoy.
Angels and War. That's 4 books right there. What I went through in the war. It's too big a subject, war. It can bring out the worst in men. Bring out the best, too, sometimes. My experience of the war is the story of the black man in America. You'd think I'd be proud I served my country. Well, to be honest with you, I'm ashamed I participated in it. I'm ashamed to have been a black soldier in a segregated army. Better I would have died for my rights, the rights of my brothers and sisters right here in this country. Oh, I saw war. I saw death, the death of my comrades. I held it in my arms. I've seen graves on graves on graves. I've seen areas where all the trees were all gone. There was so much fire, all the trees were shot down. Guns shot those trees down. I smelled the smell of gunpowder in my nostril. I hated that smell. I hated the firing range, shooting at those targets. That's the worst kind of discipline you can practice. I might as well have been shooting myself. I hated the sight of guns. Even now, when I see a policeman with that gun on his hip, I think, how can he bear that? It's too much to carry around a thing like that. By the way, a lot of men love guns. Knives and daggers, too. You'd be surprised how many men love to kill. I hated the sound of the gun in my ear. Maybe think of the time I almost lost my father. To this day, my hearing is impaired from the sound of the firing range. So when we got orders to sail to Europe in 2 weeks, time to join the other forces to make the big move, the big invasion, I thought, well, this could be it. Playtime is over. I thought for sure, with my luck, I'm going to die in this war, in a segregated army that treats us like we're nothing, then sends us forth to die. To me, the way this country treated its black people was a disgrace. Brought us here on ships as slaves. Now they want to ship us abroad to shed our blood, die, for this country that treats us this way. Underneath my well-mannered self, underneath my non-threatening facade, I felt a rage boiling up inside. Many of my men were so used to the degradation, they didn't know there could be any other way. My company was based in the South. I won't say where, but at that time the South was like apartheid South Africa. Everything was segregated. The double standard was laid out naked for all to see. Any place you went, a restaurant, a bus, a bathroom, an army base, it was whites only, blacks over here. Whites only, blacks keep out. I remember the first time I went to a segregated theater. I did what I was supposed to do. I sat up in the balcony. I never should have done it. We never should have done it. So there I was, about to go over to fight for this country. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm prepared to die. They readied me for that. But if I were to choose my battlefield, why not choose this place? Why not fall in America, right here in the South, in a fight for justice? Be recognized as a man equal to any other man, because if I die overseas, if I'm to spill my blood over there, I wouldn't be able to lay down my life for justice in this country. Why not do it right here? That's a war I feel like fighting. Then send me over to Europe, and I'll serve this country with pride in my heart. I decided to actually do it. I decided to make a stand, stage a war right here, fight my own battle. The week before we were to sail off to Europe, I went and said goodbye to my mother and father and my sister. Then I took a weekend furlough. I decided the battleground for this war was going to be a bus. I planned a trip from the town where we were stationed to another town a little further down the coast. Now keep in mind that at that time in the South, if you were black, you had to sit in the back of the bus by law. You had to sit in the back of the bus. This was long before that great brave woman, Rosa Parks, did what she did. Long before the civil rights actions woke a sleeping nation. To do what I was about to do was to stare death right in the face, no exaggeration. That morning, I shaved, put on my uniform, packed a bag, and had Ernie drive me to the bus stop. After a short while, a bus pulls up. I can see the bus is fairly crowded. I get on. There are 2 empty seats right behind the driver. I think, okay, this is my moment of declaration. I sit down right there in the front row in the seat by the window. The bus driver, the whole bus, everything freezes. People stop breathing. I think to myself, I'm not going to move. The only way I'll get off this bus, they're going to have to carry me off. The bus driver looks in the mirror. I can see his eyes. He's got these steely gray eyes. He sees mine, too. I look right straight back in his eye. He knew something when he saw me, 'cause there's the look that comes in the eye of someone who's ready to die, who welcomes death, who doesn't care. He must have thought, this boy, this Negro is obviously gone crazy. He must want to die. He knew there was no point in even speaking to me. He wasn't going to move that bus. I wasn't getting off that seat. Nobody moved. Then onto the bus comes this young lady. Ooh, pretty. She's a white lady. The prettiest eyes you ever saw. Long, silky, reddish hair. She sits down in the seat beside me, gently, sweetly. Then a white man behind me taps this lady on the shoulder and says, "Miss, you can have my seat if you wish." There were no more seats left on the front of the bus. He glances over at me, then turns to him and says, "No, this is perfectly all right." The bus driver looks in the mirror again, straight in my eye. It was like high noon. This dude's staring me down, saying something with his cold eyes. His eyes are saying something like, "I'm not going to move this bus till you get off. That's it. I'll get the police. It's against the law for you to sit there. I'll have you arrested. You will be taken off bodily if need be." I was hoping somebody would come and get me. I wanted them to get me. Get something going here. Drag me off to prison. Shoot me. Something that would shake the world a little. Wake the world a little. Somebody else gets up a couple of rows back. Walks up to the front. I'm thinking, all right, this is it now. Draw your guns. I'm ready. Somebody's got to take a stand. The man says, "Miss, I'd be glad to give you my seat." In other words, he was saying, as a Southern gentleman, I will take this obligation off you. You don't have to sit next to this subhuman. She looks up at the man and says, "No, this is perfectly all right. I'm fine here." The way she said it, her voice, at least the way it sounds to me now through the passage of all these years, her voice was like the voice of an angel. It's as though an angel stepped on that bus in order to say, now is not the time for this. I wanted them to shoot me, so people could read in the paper a black officer died on a bus in the South. They shot him for sitting in the front row. He was on his way overseas to fight for his country. All of a sudden, the bus engine started up. The bus driver looks at me in the mirror. Then he looks over at this woman. I don't know her name. I'll call her Miss No Name. He looks in her eyes, 'cause he has to deal with her now. This strong woman who, without any preparation, decided to go against the weight of the world, against the law, against tradition, against all these men and their ways. The bus started moving in defiance of an ordinance that reigned all across the South. that bus started moving. People got on. People got off. It was a long ride. Miss No Name just sat there next to me. She sat there. She sat there. She sat there. Didn't say a word. Just looked straight ahead. Till finally, when the bus got to my stop, I got up and said, "Thank you." And she smiled. She smiled. I don't know where she came from or where she was going. But of all the things that happened to me in the Army, in that war, in England, in France, in the South Pacific, past all the danger and fighting and all the inequities, I remember this woman. Amongst all those memories, I see an angel on a bus, riding through the streets of the South, sitting down for justice. Miss No Name, if you're out there, I'd like to know your name. I'd like to see you and say thank you. You didn't have to do it. It wasn't your fight. You were just going to a job or visiting your parents. You didn't ask for that. You could have gotten up. You could have moved, but you insisted. You got me through, you know that? That's how much one human being can mean to another. At a time when I was so angry, you gave me hope that decency and love would overcome. Way before I heard the words, deep in my heart I do believe love shall overcome someday. Way before the Civil Rights Movement, you helped me overcome the hatred, overcome many of the things that got in my way. You helped me to recognize the occasional angel, no matter the color of skin, who bursts forth from time to time, like light through the darkness of war. Because of you, I couldn't hate all white people. Because of you, despite all the history, all the suffering and hatred and denial, I do believe America can be, will be beautiful someday.
There's more to come on A Season's Griot from PRI, Public Radio International. Welcome back to A Season's Griot from PRI, Public Radio International. I'm Madafo.
Well, oh, well, it's storytelling time. Well, oh, well, it's storytelling time.
Linda Goss is a storyteller known the world over as one of the most prolific, creative, and respected storytellers alive. Here she is, telling one of our favorites. Hope you like it.
Well, Brother Madafo, I'm going to tell you about this little frog. And this little frog is very frustrated. And you know why he's so frustrated? Is because he has talent. Now, we all got talent, but just because we got it don't mean everybody wants to see and hear it. Well, this little frog felt that he had talent. As a matter of fact, he wanted to be a singer. Now, I ask you, have you ever heard of a frog singing before? Ribbit? But this frog was burning with desire to just sing his song. And one day, all this frustration started bubbling inside him, and there's something about frustration that has to come out. And so one day, those frustration bubbles started popping out of his eyes, popping out of his nose, popping out of his mouth, and he said to himself, you know, I'm tired of feeling this way. I'm tired of holding all this inside me. I want to be a singer. Yeah, I'm going to sing. And so that little frog decided to share his dreams with his parents. He said, Mama, Daddy, you know, I want to be a singer. Now they looked at him. And even though they had never heard of a frog singing before, this was their child. And so they encouraged him. They said, son, you can do it. You can be anything you want to be. So this gave the frog some confidence. Yeah, And he said, now you know something? Maybe I should talk to the birds. Now in the forest, the birds were considered the most beautiful, the most talented singers all over the place. And so the frog decided to ask them if he could join their group. Oh, he gathered up his confidence. He hip-hopped over to their tree trunk, and he said, knock, 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 knock. Oh, birds, it's me, the frog. Can I hop up? Well, the head bird looked out of the treehouse and says, oh, it's you, frog. Yes, please hop up and join us. Yes, I'll take a seat over there in the corner, way over there in the corner. Well, the frog sat down and he got kind of quiet because he started losing some of that confidence. So way after a while, the head bird said, frog, why have you come to see us? How may we help you? Well, you see, said the frog, I want to join your group. That's wonderful, said the head bird. As a matter of fact, we could use some help. You can help us carry our worms, okay? Ooh, carry your worm. Oh, no, said the frog. That's not what I had in mind. Oh, no, said the head bird. Well, frog, what do you have in mind? Well, you see, I want to sing with your group. Sing, an ugly-looking thing like you. You have warts all over you. Get out of our home. Get. Oh, those birds surrounded that frog. They picked him up and they threw him from their treehouse. Oh, when he got home, he felt so bad. He was aching deep inside himself. You might say that frog had the blues. Doo-ba, doo-ba-doo, feeling kind of blue, down and low, don't know where to go. Doo-ba, doo-ba-doo, feeling kind of blue, down and low, don't know where to go. But I gotta stay strong, and I'm gonna hop along, 'cause this frog has got to sing his song. Now that frog wanted to cry, but that frog did not shed one tear. Instead, he began to practice and practice and practice and practice. And then he began to think, now you know, those birds sing every Friday night at the big time weekly concert. But they're not in charge of it. Brother Fox is. And so the frog decided to go and see Brother Fox. He knocked on his cave. Knock, 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 knock. Oh, Brother Fox, it's me, the frog. I got something I want to ask you. The fox looks out and says, okay, frog, what do you want? Oh, Brother Fox, I want to be on the concert this Friday night. What can you do? I want to sing. Sing, get out here, get. Oh, please, Brother Fox, please give me a chance. Said the fox. You know something? Perhaps I could use you, frog. Why don't you show up 8 o'clock sharp, okay? I'm going to put you on first, okay? Well, when the frog heard this, he was so happy. Ooh, he just lit up inside. Oh, he just couldn't be still. And before he knew it, Monday rolled around, Tuesday rolled around, Wednesday rolled around, Thursday rolled around, and finally it was Friday. Oh, the frog bathed all that day. Oh, he bathed his green little fingers. He scrubbed his green little toes. And he brushed his green little hair. And he parted it in the middle and slicked down the sides. Oh, that frog was looking good. And then he looked down at his reflection in the pond. And it was as though he was seeing himself for the very first time. And that frog said, I am beautiful, and tonight I'm going to do my thing. Well, before he knew it, it was 7:15, 7:30, 7:45, and almost 8 o'clock. Ooh, and the animals were coming in. But the frog was backstage. Ooh, he was so nervous, he couldn't be still. Oh, he was just shaking, and before he knew it, Brother Fox came out onto the stage to start the show. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, yes, thank you. Presenting for the first time on this stage, the frog who thinks he's a singer. Come on, let's clap, yay. Well, the frog came out. He saw his parents. They were sitting on the front row. Oh, they were clapping. They were so proud of him. But the other animals, oh, they were roaring with laughter. And the frog took the microphone. He was so nervous. He opened his mouth and he says, ah, ah, ah. And before that frog could put the period at the end of that sentence, before he could get out a word, the elephant jumped up. I don't hear no frog sing. He grabbed a pineapple and threw it, hit that frog right there in the head. Wow! Then the lion jumped up. I don't hear no frog sing. He grabbed a banana and threw it, hit that frog right there in the mouth. Woo! Soon the animals were booing that frog. Boo, 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 boo. Get off the stage. Boo, 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 you jive turkey. We don't want you to sing. Boo! They booed that poor little frog right off the stage. He had to hide under the stage. Oh, well, Brother Fox rushed back on. Calm down, calm down, calm down. Okay, just take a seat. Take a seat. Now, presenting for your entertainment, the birds who really can sing. Don't worry about that frog. He will never, ever be a singer. Birds, come on out, quick, quick, quick. Well, the birds flew out, and they began to tweet and whistle. Well, the animals were used to this. And so the elephant said, that's more like it. That is what we want to hear. Everyone was resting peacefully except that frog. That frog was tired of being pushed around. That frog was tired of being frustrated. He jumped back on that stage. He grabbed that microphone from the birds and said, now listen here. I came here to sing a song tonight. I have a dream inside me. I have a song and I'm going to let it out. I don't care if you don't want to hear it. I don't care if you are asleep. I'm going to wake you up. And even though that frog was nervous, he took a deep breath and in the style of what we now call the boogie woogie, he began to bellow out his tune. Do ba 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 do 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 ba bop de bop brah. Well, the elephant heard that. The elephant opened one eye, and then she opened the other eye, and she said, "Frog, is that you?" The frog started do ba 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 do ba. The elephant jumped up on the stage. She started swinging her hips from side to side, doing a dance we now call the bump. Then the lion jumped up. Hey, I like that sound. Frog, is that you? The lion started shaking his body this away and that away and every which way, doing a dance we now call the twist. Do ba 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 do ba. Soon the snakes were boogalooing and the giraffes were doing the jerk. The hyena started doing the slap, and Brother Fox said, "Hey, I'm gonna do something." And Brother Fox started doing the mashed potatoes. Even the birds wanted to join in. We want to do ba do ba do ba do ba too. Tweet 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 do ba. Tweet 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 do ba do ba do ba do ba do ba do ba. Tweet 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 do ba. Soon the whole forest was rocking, the joint was jumping, the animals were snapping their fingers, they were moving their feet, they were doing something that they had never done before. They were dancing. And Brother Fox came back on the stage, he grabbed the mic, he shouted, "Wow, Frog, you are a genius. You have given us something new." Well, from then on, the frog was allowed to sing every Friday night at the Big Time Weekly Concert. And as my granddaddy Murphy used to say, "Honey child, that is how rhythm and blues was born." Do ba 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 bop de bop. And all of us have that frog inside of us. We all have the ability to share our talents with the world. And let's remember that frog. And remember that even though we may be frustrated, we have to let it out. we have to practice Kuji Chakalia, self-determination, because that's what the frog had, and that's what got him through. Do ba 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 do.
One day, Brett Fox and Brer Bear were sitting around in the woods, and they were talking about what they were going to do to the rabbit. What's they called him? Brett Fox leaned over to Brer Bear. He said,
Brer Bear, that rabbit getting too sassy. I don't like the way he come lippity-clippity down the road like he's something. When I catch that rabbit, I go pluck out all he mustaches.
well, you know what? That ain't nothing, cuz you know what I gonna do? When I catch that rabbit, I gonna take my fist and knock his head clean off. Well, that's the way the talk went all the day long. The two of them sitting around bragging about what they were going to do to the rabbit once they caught him. Well, by and by, Brett Fox comes up with an idea, and right away they set to put it into motion. Now, this is what they did. First off, they went and got themselves a big wad of tar, and they made it into the shape like a baby, gave it some arms and some legs and a head and a stomach. And then to really make that thing look like it was for real, old Brett Fox snatched some of the hair off the back of Brer Bear and stuck it on the head of the thing. Then Brett Fox said,
Brer Bear, help me carry this thing over by the big road.
Old Brer Rabbit shows to see it once it come hopping along. And that's what they did. They carried that thing and they sat it under a tree, made it sit there and look like it was waiting in the shade. And after they did that, they hurried over to the other side of the road and hid themselves in the bushes so nobody could see them. And they didn't have to wait long either, because after a short while, they heard someone coming up the road. And he was whistling, humming, and singing. Right away, they knew who it was, Brer Rabbit, just as frisky as old chicken. All of a sudden, Brer Rabbit spies that tar baby.
Howdy!
But the tar baby didn't say anything. So Brer Rabbit said it a little louder than before.
I says, howdy do. What's the matter with you? Is you deaf or something?
If he is, I can holler louder. But the tar baby still wouldn't say anything. And old Brer Fox and Brer Bear, they lay low in the bushes.
We got him.
Brer Rabbit hasn't caught on to what's going on. So old Brer Rabbit looked at that tar baby. He says, don't you know how to say howdy like spectable folks say when they meets on the road? If you don't say howdy by the time I count to 3, I'm going to take my fist and blip you in the nose. Well, the tar baby still didn't say anything, so old Brer Rabbit started to count. 1, 2, 3. And old Brer Rabbit took his fist and he reeled it around and he blip right upside that tar baby's head. But his fist got stuck in the tar, and he couldn't pull it loose. And old Brer Rabbit said, you better let my fist go. If you don't let my fist go, I'm going to hit you with the other fist. Tar baby still didn't say anything, so old Brer Rabbit wound up real good with that other fist, and he smacked him upside the head with the other fist. But that fist got stuck in the tar too, and there old Brer Rabbit was with both fists all stuck up in the tar, and he could not pull them loose. And old Brer Fox and Brer Bear, they chuckle way down deep in their stomachs like this. Brer Rabbit still hasn't caught on to what's going on, and old Brer Rabbit looked at that tar baby and says, if you don't let my fist go, I'm going to take my behind foots, and I'm going to kick you so hard your teeth go fall out on the ground. Tar baby still didn't say anything, so old Brer Rabbit took his behind foot and he kicked that tar baby. But it got stuck in the tar, so old Brer Rabbit kicked with the other behind foot. And there old Brer Rabbit was with both fists and both behind feet all stuck up in the tar, and he could not pull them loose. Brer Fox and Brer Bear, they're doing all they can now to keep from giving themselves away. Like that. Brer Rabbit still hasn't caught on to what's going on. So Brer Rabbit look at that tar baby. He says, I'm going to give you one last chance to turn me loose. If you don't turn me loose this time, I'm going to take my head and butt you so hard, all the breath going to leave out of your body. Tar baby still wouldn't say a word. So Brer Rabbit stretched his neck back as far as he could, and he butt that tar baby. Ka-choom! His head got stuck in the tar, and he couldn't pull it loose. And old Brer Rabbit pushed, he pulled, he screamed, and he squirmed. But no matter how hard Brer Rabbit tried to get unstuck up, the more stuck up he got stuck up. Brer Rabbit was so stuck up in that tar, he could scarcely move his eyeballs. Well, old Brer Fox and Brer Bear see what's happening, and they come out of the bushes feeling really good, jumping up and down and celebrating and picking at old Brer Rabbit.
Ha! Brer Rabbit, I told you we was gonna get you.
Yeah, Brer Rabbit, you've been bossing us around this neighborhood all these years. Now we got you. I'm gonna take my fist and knock your head clean off. And old Brer Bear reached back with that big powerful paw to hit Brer Rabbit. But Brer Fox jumped up and he said,
Wait a minute, Brer Bear. Wait a minute, Brer Bear. That's too quick and easy. We gotta make him suffer a little bit. I tell you what, let's do. Let's build us a fire. And when it's nice and hot, we'll drop him in it and roast him. How you like that?
Well, old Brer Fox and Brer Bear started picking up pieces of wood to start their fire. And while they were doing that, Brer Rabbit was scared. He was shaking, he was shivering, and he was sweating. But one thing about that rabbit, even though he was frightened, even though he was afraid, he was always thinking. He always had that mind going. And pretty soon, he came up with an idea. Well, Brer Fox and Brer Bear came back to light the fire, and old Brer Rabbit says, Hey, wait a minute. Listen, why don't you light the fire on this side of me? 'Cause that would burn quicker, see? You know, please, you can roast me just as hard as you can, but don't chunk me over in the briar patch. I didn't mean to tell you that, but please, you can do anything. You can cut my feet off. You can cut my head off. You can burn me. You can do anything, but please don't chunk me over in the briar patch. Said Brer Bear. He ain't even scared of being roasted.
Yeah. Well, we just have to do something else to him then. I know. Let's throw him over in the briar patch.
Yeah, that's a good idea, Red Fox. Come on, let's do that. So they grabbed the rabbit by his ears, pulled him out of the tar, and flung him over into the deepest part of the briar patch where all those juicy stickleberries and thorns were. And you should have heard the noise, the sounds, the cries that came out of that briar patch where the rabbit landed. It was terrible. Ow! Ouch! Ow! Just... Oh, ow! Oi! Ouch! Ow! All of a sudden, all of the ooching and the ouching came to a quiet whisper. Sounded like old Brer Rabbit was about to die. And old Brer Fox and Brer Bear looked at each other. They patted each other on the shoulder. Big broad grin came on their face, and they started to celebrate and sing. Old Brer Rabbit ain't gonna be sassy no more. Old Brer Rabbit ain't gonna be bossy no more. Old Brer Rabbit ain't gonna do nothing no more. This is the end. Brer Rabbit is dead. And they were jumping around, having themselves a good time, just celebrating about old Brer Rabbit. While they were celebrating, they heard some rustling in the bushes way over on the other side of the briar patch. And they looked, and who do you think they see scurrying from under the bushes at the other end of the briar patch? That's right, old Brer Rabbit, just as frisky as old Cricket, laughing and singing and combing the last bit of tar out of his mustache with a piece of briar bush. And Brer Rabbit looked up, he says, "Hey there, Brer Fox. What's up, Brer Bear? I told you not to chuck me in the bushes." I told you not to chuck me in that briar patch. You see, the briar patch is the one place I love more than any in this whole wide world. I was born in the briar patch. They threw me in the briar patch. And that's the story of Brer Rabbit and the Tar Baby. We'll be right back with more of A Season's Griot from PRI, Public Radio International. Welcome back to A Season's Griot from PRI, Public Radio International. I'm Madafo.
In Search of Our Modern Griots by Beverly Fields Burnett. Who'll be the next modern griot appearing in our midst? Will you be the next historian on our noble list to share the lessons that guide the tribe, revealing family legacies for all to abide? Who'll teach the young the wholesome ways or secret trails that will amaze? Who'll share the lessons that will save our lot, or stories that teach us what to do or not? Are you the chosen one to advise the flock, the one who's our ancient library without door locks? Will you be the griot who brings the beat of the djembe drum, or soothe souls with a kora when the day is done? Though violent days still circle about, a modern-day griot will appear without a doubt. Be ye man or woman with a staff or a robe, one draped in kente cloth or dashiki with the wisdom of Job, your words will be welcomed to stem the tide, to give hope during trying times when we require your guide. O modern griot, receive the grand banner of old. We await your regal words of African gold. Keep us turned toward our ancient wisdoms as you dance our modern rhythms. Give us proverbs that lead us toward knowledge and hope. Help us to succeed, show us how we should cope. Please, modern griot, keep our ancient will intact. Show us how to receive and then to give back. Let your honor prevail as your community debt, and we'll know you've arrived by your distinct drumbeat set. And we'll know you've arrived by your distinct drumbeat set. Drumbeat set. Drumbeat set.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Capel, also known as Granddaddy Junebug. I'm a professional storyteller. Been at this since 1985. Thanks to good folks like Wadafo Lloyd Wilson and Brother Blue and Baba Jamal Karam. And I have a lot of good mentors. And my father and my grandfather and my mother and my grandmothers, all great storytellers. I come from a long line of storytellers. So that's what's important about the griot. Knowing your history and knowing the culture and continuing on this oral tradition of passing on mores and all the great stories about people's families and what have you. And it's nothing more than I love than sitting back with old friends and talking about old times and how we grew up and what have you. So anyway, I'm Mitch Capel, also known as Granddaddy Junebug, storyteller. Paul Laurence Dunbar, a Negro love song. Seen my lady home last night, jump back, honey, jump back. Held her hand and I squeezed it tight. Jump back, honey, jump back. Heard her sigh, a little sigh. Seen a light gleam from her eye, and a smile go flitting by. Jump back, honey, jump back. Heard the wind blow through the pine. Jump back, honey, jump back. Mockingbird was a singing fine. Jump back, honey, jump back. And my heart was beating so when I reached my lady's door that I couldn't bear to go. Jump back, honey, jump back. So I put my arm around her waist. Jump back, honey, jump back. Raised her lips and I took a taste. Jump back, honey, jump back. Love me, honey, love me true. Love me much as I love you. And she answered, course I do. Jump back, honey, jump back. Little Brown Baby by Paul Laurence Dunbar. Little brown baby with sparkling eyes, come to your pappy and sit on his knee. What you been doing, sir? Making sand pies. Ooh, look at that bib, you's as dirty as me. Look at that mouth. That's molasses, I bet. Let me get something and wipe off his hands. Bees gonna catch him and eat him up yet. Being so sticky and sweet, goodness lands. Little brown baby with sparkling eyes, who's pappy's darling and who's pappy's child? Who is it all today never once tries for to be cross or once loses that smile? Where did you get them teeth? Oh, my, you's a scamp. And where did that dimple come from in your chin? Your pappy don't know you. I believe you's a tramp. Hey, this here some old straggler done got in. Let's throw him out the door in the sand. We don't want no stragglers a-laying round here. Let's give him way to the big booger man. I know he's laying round here right near. Booger man, come in the door. Here's a bad boy you can have for to eat. Me and his mama don't want him no more. Swallow him down from his head to his feet. Oh, I thought you'd hug me up close. Go away, old booger, you shan't have this here boy. He ain't no scamp or no straggler, of course. He's grandpappy's partner and playmate and joy. Come to your pallet now. Go to your rest. Wish you could always know ease and clear skies. Wish you could stay just a child on my breast. Little brown baby with sparkling eyes. In the Morning by Paul Laurence Dunbar. Lies, lies, bless the Lord. Don't you know the days abroad? If you don't get up, you scamp, they be trouble in this here camp. Think I going to let you sleep whilst I makes your board and keep. That's a pretty howdy do. Don't you hear me, lies? You bet if I come cross this floor, you won't find no time to snow. Daylight all a shining in whilst you sleep. Why, it's a sin. Ain't the candle life enough to burn down without a snuff? But you going the morning through burning up the daylight too? Lies? Don't you hear me call? No use turning towards that wall. I can hear that matter squeak. Don't you hear me when I speak? This here clock done struck off 6. Kayleen, bring me them there sticks. Oh, you're down, sir. Huh, you're down. Look here, don't you dare to frown. March yourself and wash your face. And don't you splatter all the place. I got something else to do besides just cleaning after you. And take that comb and fix your head. Look just like a feather bed. Look here, boy. I'll let you see you shan't roll your eyes at me. Come here and bring me that air strap. Boy, I'll whip you till you drap. You done felt yourself too strong, and you surely got me wrong. Now sit down at that table there, and just you whimper if you dare. Ever moaning on this place seem like I must lose my grace. Now fold your hands and bow your head. Wait until the blessing said. Lord, have mercy on our souls. Don't you dare to touch them rolls. Bless this food we gwine to eat. You sit still. I'll see your feet. You just try that trick again. Give us peace and joy. Amen. In the morning. All right, The Seedling by Paul Laurence Dunbar. As a quiet little seedling lay within its darksome bed, to itself it fell a-talking, and this is what it said. I am not so very robust, but I'll do the best I can. And that seedling, from that moment, its work of life began. So it pushed a little leaflet up into the light of day to examine the surroundings and show the rest the way. The leaflet liked the prospect, so it called its brother, Stem, and 2 other leaflets heard it and quickly followed them. To be sure, the haste and hurry made the little seedling pant, but almost before it knew it, it found itself a plant. The sunshine poured upon it, and the clouds, they gave a shower, and that little plant kept growing till it found itself a flower. Folks, be like the little seedling. Always do the best you can. Everyone must share life's labors, be you child, woman, or man. And the sun and rain will help you through life's lonesome struggling hours, till you raise to light and beauty, virtue's fair, unfading flowers.
Councilmember Shayla Favor, and today we're going to be reading the 7 days of Kwanzaa. December 26th is the first day of Kwanzaa. The principle, umoja, which means unity. Call your father, call your mother, call your sister, call your brother. It's Kwanzaa time, family time. It's Kwanzaa time, family time. African American people pulling together, Harambe, trying to make things better. 7 days and 7 nights, 7 candles we will light. 7 days, 7 candles we will light. December 27th is the second day of Kwanzaa. The principle is Kujula, which means self-determination. Relatives come to visit. The cousins say, Harambe. We make mekamats. It's fun working together. It's Kwanzaa time, family time. It's Kwanzaa time, family time. December 28th is the third day of Kwanzaa. The principle is Ujima, which means working together. We sweep the yard. We paint the gate. Everything looks better. We are pulling together. We are pulling together. We are pulling together. Oh yes, we are. December 29th is the fourth day of Kwanzaa. The principle, Ujama, which means sharing profit. We go to Malcolm's Market.
Malcolm asks, Habari Gani, what's the news? We say, Ujama. Mama buys corn and sweet potatoes. 1 potato, 2 potato. 3 potato, sweet. 4 potato, 5 potato. 6 potato, eat. December 30th is the 5th day of Kwanzaa. The principle is Nia, which means purpose. Here's how we light the candles. First the black, next a red, then a green, then another red, and then another green. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. December 31st is the 6th day of Kwanzaa. The principle is Kiumba, which means creativity. Everyone plays I've Got the Spirit. Grandma beats a drum, Papa claps. Everyone dances to the rhythm. I've got the spirit, hey, hey. I've got the spirit, ashe, ashe. I've got the spirit, hey, hey. I've got Kumba, ashe, ashe. We dance and sing until we are all tired out. January 1st is the 7th day of Kwanzaa. The principle is Imani, which means faith. We light all 7 candles. Grandpa tells a story of how our people came from Africa long ago. He says, may we all live by the Nguzo Saba, the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. Keep the faith. That's the thing to do. Believe in yourself and your family too. Keep Imani in your heart. Keep Imani in your soul. Imani is more precious than diamonds or gold. Happy Kwanzaa.
Watch the next video. Watch the next video. Watch the next video. No, I'm just joking, family. Family, thank you for joining us. Be sure to catch us on the next video, family. Peace. Watch the next video.